Jurassic World Rebirth is a movie that was made very quickly. After Jurassic World Dominion garnered the lowest critical reception of any Jurassic Park movie to date, David Koepp was hired by Spielberg to give the series some kind of revival, and with this new trajectory came an extremely fast turnaround in the production. Now, since they made the movie so fast, a lot of things got changed from script to screen, to say the least, but one change was actually kinda wild and garnered a ton of rumors online that I really want to talk about. What's going on, guys? Hope you're all doing well. Now look, I'm just gonna jump right into the topic at hand. So there were originally going to be two Tyrannosaurus Rexes in Jurassic World Rebirth. Now, the scene in which we were supposed to see the other T-Rex was actually the same scene that we saw the Rex in the final cut of the movie. During the sequence where Teresa comes across the water and finds the river raft in the film, we were actually supposed to see a young Tyrannosaur eating the Parasaurolophus carcass that was lying on the bank. Now, the rumors surrounding this T-Rex and the scene itself were all over the place on the internet. People were speculating on what the dinosaur would look like and how it would be translated to screen. And you might not think this is that big of a deal at first glance, but the reason people were so interested was because in Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park novel, the river raft sequence that was finally shown off in this film featured a totally different sized T-Rex that we had never before seen. The T-Rex from the Jurassic Park novel was supposed to be taller than a grown man, but still nowhere near the thundering size of the full-grown animals we'd seen in the other movies. It's the creature that was dining on a dead hadrosaur, and then the Tyrannosaur has to turn around and go back to its kill and leave the people alone on the raft. Dr. Grant, Lex, and Tim are barely able to escape, and the only reason they get away is because the full-grown T-Rex has to go back to defend its kill from the little guy that's shown up and tried to steal a meal. Now, it was this specific young dinosaur in the novel that had a pretty gnarly scene, and actually a couple of really cool scenes in the book that a lot of people would get excited for. It's actually the dinosaur that kills the character from the novel that would ultimately get blended into the lawyer character of Donald Gennaro in the movie, which, by the way, on a side note, as a kid reading Jurassic Park, the lawyer character takes on a velociraptor with his bare hands and lives. Like, he lives through the whole book. And I would read that back in the day thinking that he looked like Hulk Hogan or something, but anyways.
As the conferences are concerned. Oh, the power of Hogan. And I'll tell you what, King. Look at the power of those pythons!
So when it comes to some of the differences in the storyboard art when compared to the final film, we can see that the blood and overall position of the Parasaurolophus carcass in this was way different when they were planning everything out. Actually, it looks like some of the blood kind of got mixed with the water, which would have been a way more compelling look for the movie if you ask me. Also, the position of the Tyrannosaur in the storyboards is different here too, with the T-Rex not only facing away from the river, but it's also resting its head on a big rock, just like the concept art for the original Jurassic Park movie way back in the early 90s. The T-Rex also belches for some reason instead of rolling over, which is what reveals it to the audience. Not so sure I like that part at all, actually. Probably a good idea to change all of that. Now, Teresa also has a flashlight here where it's revealed that there are several rafts waiting for someone to come pick them up next to this Tyrannosaurus. So yeah, the movie kind of did change a lot of stuff in this little scene, at least in some small regards to how the final cut is presented to the audience. So look, guys, the young T-Rex that was going to be in this scene in the movie was actually not one of those bigger juvenile T-Rexes that we saw in the book or even in the toy lines, but it was actually going to be a tiny infant Tyrannosaur straight out of what we saw in the Lost World Jurassic Park. Now, the storyboards that have been revealed for this scene in particular show that it was basically replaced by the Dilophosaurus that we see in the final cut of the movie, but there is a part of me that kind of prefers the idea that there was this little tiny T-Rex that just decided to run up on the dead Parasaur carcass and steal a meal while the big king of the island was taking a nap on the bank. The reason I think this little scene sounds so cool to me is because it implies that there's actually more Tyrannosaurs on the island raising their own young and running around doing things, but this little guy is also alone and he's in another carnivore's territory, so what does that mean? Like, did the D-Rex take his parents out? Did he wander away way too far from the nest and is about to get attacked by something else on the island, like a raptor or a Quetzalcoatlus, or could even be the big T-Rex's offspring that has to run and jump out of the way of his father because of how massive of a tank the guy is. Like, imagine trying to survive just not getting stepped on when dad is waking up. I mean, it's kind of cool. I don't know, but whatever the case may be, this idea was scrapped from the movie and substituted for the Dilophosaurus instead. Now, I'd love to hear some of your feedback in the comments because I'm going to dive into this whole thing a little bit further, but I think some people may actually prefer the Dilophosaurus being in this scene instead of another T-Rex because we don't get to see the spitters that much in the movies. But in all due respect, I'm at the point where I don't really want to see another Dilophosaurus in a Jurassic Park movie until we've seen the full-grown adults. I know a lot of people think that they're small in the Jurassic Park movie universe, but if you pay attention to the little screen in the Lost World where they show the animals running around on Isla Sorna, that thing has a size chart that says they get huge, and I think it would be cool to have like a 23-foot Dilophosaurus walk up against a Carnotaur in a new movie or something like that. Subbing at the baby T-Rex for the Dilophosaurus is fine. I'm not going to knock anybody that made that decision for the film. It's not like it changes how good the movie is, but man, I do like the idea of seeing other Tyrannosaurs on the island, especially a brand new island. They call this thing Site C, the Isle of Saint-Hubert, so show us more T-Rexes, man. Like, it's cool. This goes into some further stuff about Tyrannosaurs that I think is really interesting in Jurassic World Rebirth because there's a lot of behind the scenes material and even posters and stuff that are at the bar or somewhere else in the movie that show like a T-Rex from 1999 that got loose or something. I have no idea what to make of it, but when it comes to this specific scene from Jurassic World Rebirth, a lot of people do still say that the river raft sequence was like one of the highlights of the film. And I like it fine the way it is, but I think contextually, when you look at the Michael Crichton novel and then you look at the storyboards they made for the scene, I really do think it would have been cooler to have the infant Tyrannosaur instead of a Dilophosaurus. Now guys, this little change in Jurassic World Rebirth was not the only thing that changed when it comes to looking at the storyboards and how things wound up being in the final cut of the movie. There's a lot of little things that got moved around and switched. For example, when you look at the actual storyboards for the Spinosaurus attack on the boat, we see that the Mosasaurus was way more involved in actually attacking the humans, and there's a part where it kind of looks like it was supposed to be a completely different size, like a totally different Mosasaur in the final cut of the film, way smaller. But yeah, I don't know, when it comes to Jurassic World Rebirth, guys, this movie was made very, very fast, and I think these little changes are fun. They were probably done just by trying to add more classic Jurassic Park dinosaurs to the mix to be nostalgic or whatever, but yeah, I don't know. I kind of would have liked to see like a smaller T-Rex instead of the Dilophosaurus. But hey guys, those are all just my own thoughts and opinions on the subject matter. What do you think about the editing of this scene? What do you think about them swapping out the small T-Rex for the Dilo? And what did you think about them not doing the young T-Rex from the book where it was like a 9-foot tall dino that we've never really seen before? I still think that would be a fun idea, especially in a small enclosed like environment where people are trying to run away and get, you know, try not to get eaten by a dinosaur of that size. But hey, whatever your own thoughts and opinions happen to be on the subject matter, I'd love to hear all about them in the comments down below. Now, before I go, I want to thank everyone that's helped me build my channel over the years. I'd also like to thank every one of you guys who've watched my stuff. You've all been extremely cool to me. If you enjoyed the video, I'd appreciate a like and hope that you'll consider subscribing. God bless you all. Christ is King. See you guys in the next video. And as always, take it easy.